Parabolas, intercept form coefficients. In this section, we will see multiple choice equations that represent the graph above. Delta Math calls this intercept form. I like to call this factored form. So in this factored form, we can tell two things about the parabola. One of them is whether it opens up or down, and we can tell that whether there's a negative sign in front of the equation or not. Another thing we can tell is where the intercepts are. Intercepts is another word for roots, and when I'm saying intercepts, I mean the x-intercepts. So if I look at this graph, I see that the parabola goes through 3 and 5 on the x-axis. So that means I must have, let me pull this up here. If I have 3 and 5 are my intercepts, then I must have x minus 3 and x minus 5 as my factored form. The 4 in front, all these have a 4 in front of them. That just tells you how wide the parabola is. That doesn't affect the actual intercepts. And we know it's going to be a negative in front because it is opening downwards. So this looks like this answer choice here. Okay. So with these problems, you want to first identify whether or not you should have a negative sign. And you tell that if the parabola is upside down, it's a negative sign. If it's upside up, it is not a negative sign. And then you look at your two intercepts. Sometimes you'll have one intercept, sometimes you'll have any intercepts. But we'll see in the next problem another example. Okay, our parabola is opening upwards, so we should not have a negative sign. And our two intercepts looks like -6 and -7. So if those are my two intercepts, I should have x plus 6 and x plus 7. With your x-intercepts, you should always have the opposite sign of the actual value. Since I had a -6 as an intercept, I should have x plus 6, because if I set this equal to 0, using that zero product property, when x plus 6 equals 0, if I subtract 6 from both sides, I get x equals -6, which was one of my roots. Same thing over here, if I set x plus 7 equal to 0 and subtract 7 from both sides, I get x equals -7, which is my other root. So my final answer should involve an x plus 6 and an x plus 7. The leading coefficient is all 0.9, and we want to have a positive. So positive 0.9, it's either this one or this one. And I need to have plus 6 and plus 7. So this one will be my final answer. Okay, next problem. I will give you guys a moment to study this one. We know it is an upwards parabola, so we should not have a negative sign. And my two x-intercepts are +2 and +5, so I should have a -2 and a -5 on the inside. There should be no negative sign on the outside. Like this one, this would imply that the parabola is upside down, but our parabola is not upside down, so this one should be our final answer. Okay. Parabola is upwards, we should not have a negative sign, and my two roots, or my intercepts, are -4 and -1, so I should have a +4 and a +1 on the inside. So it's one of these two, and since my parabola is opening upwards, I should have the positive version. Last problem. Positive parabola, so it is between these two options. And my roots are -3 and -1, so my answers should be +3 and +1 on the inside. And that is it.